This is Miss Boo.
I used to work as a moderator for a pretty well-known streaming platform, and I always chose the jobs that paid the most, which usually meant dealing with the worst kind of content people could throw online, things you don't really talk about out loud, and after a while, you stop reacting to it the way you should. It just becomes routine, like you're watching something that isn't even real anymore. This job felt different, though I couldn't explain why at first, and I almost didn't take it because I was already thinking about quitting after something that happened before. But the listing looked simple enough, and I told myself it would be an easy one to finish before I walked away for good. It was pre-broadcast moderation, no audience, no interaction, just watching a private stream and removing anything that might break the rules before it went live later, which honestly sounded like the easiest version of the job. The instructions were simple, but there was something about them that felt off. Like they were written by someone who expected you to mess up, because they weren't just guidelines, they felt like warnings. And I remember reading them twice without really knowing why. Don't pause, don't rewind, don't refresh the stream, don't take screenshots or record the screen, don't open the chat history tab, and remove any message that references future events. That last one stuck with me longer than it should have. And when I asked about it, the guy onboarding me brushed it off and said it was just test data that sometimes shows up in the system. Nothing to worry about, just delete anything that looks predictive. I figured it was something staged, maybe a fake haunted stream, or a scripted thing where the chat pretends to know what's coming next, and I didn't think about it again. The stream itself was nothing, just a fixed camera pointed at a living room, a couch, a coffee table, a door in the back, one lamp on, and no movement at all. No sound except this low, constant hum that you almost forget is there after a while. I sat there for about 20 minutes, just watching absolutely nothing happen, thinking this was going to be the easiest money I'd ever made, when suddenly a message appeared in the chat. There was no username, just gray text, and it read, "Door opens soon." And I remember hovering over it for a second, thinking it must be that test data they mentioned. So I deleted it without thinking too much about it. About 10 seconds later, the door in the stream opened and then slowly closed again. And I remember feeling a slight shift in my stomach. Not fear exactly, just that small moment where something doesn't line up the way it should. At first, I thought it was just part of the stream, something staged, something predictable. But then more messages started appearing, one after another, and each one described something that hadn't happened yet. Lamp turns off. I delete it, and a few seconds later, the lamp goes out. Something moves behind couch. I delete it, and something shifts in the shadows behind the couch. And it kept happening like that over and over again. Message, delete, event, message, delete, event. Like the chat wasn't reacting to the stream, but moving ahead of it. After about an hour, I got distracted for just a moment, and I didn't delete one of the messages right away. It just sat there on the screen. Door opens. And nothing happened for a few seconds. Maybe 5, maybe 10. And then about half a minute later, the door opened again. Exactly like it said it would. That's when I stopped deleting them, because something about that delay made it impossible to ignore what was happening. And I started timing it, watching the messages, watching the stream, trying to understand it. Every single message came before the event, not reacting to it, not describing it after the fact, but predicting it. And the delay wasn't perfect, but it was always close, somewhere around 20 seconds, consistent enough to make it feel intentional. That's when it started to bother me, because this wasn't a public stream. There were no viewers, no usernames, nothing that could explain where these messages were coming from, and definitely nothing that could explain how they knew what was about to happen. I kept telling myself there had to be a technical explanation. Preloaded data, automation, something built into the system, something logical, but it didn't feel logical anymore. I wanted proof, something I could point to and say, this is how it works. So I broke one of the rules and opened the chat history tab. I expected to see logs, timestamps, maybe test entries, but instead it was just a long list of messages, all of them written the same way, all of them describing events, things that hadn't happened yet, things that were about to happen. I started scrolling, faster than I meant to, trying to find something that made sense. And then I saw a line that made me stop completely. Moderator closes chat history. I hadn't done that yet. I just stared at it, not moving, not even breathing properly for a second. And then another line appeared beneath it. Moderator feels better after closing chat history. I closed it immediately, like I wasn't even thinking anymore, just reacting. And I went back to the main view of the stream. My hands were shaking a little at that point, but I kept telling myself it was nothing, just code, just a system doing something I didn't understand. Then a new message appeared in the live chat. Moderator checks behind him. I didn't move. I just stared at it, waiting for something to happen in the stream, but nothing changed. The room stayed empty, completely still. 10 seconds passed, then 20, and then another message appeared. Too late. I turned around so fast I almost knocked my chair over, and there was nothing there. Nothing at all. Just my room exactly the way I left it. I actually laughed for a second, that kind of nervous laugh you do when you don't want to admit something scared you. And I turned back to the screen. The door in the stream was open now, wider than before, and behind it, there was a hallway. I hadn't seen a hallway at any point before, and the camera hadn't moved, so it should have been visible the entire time. Then 2 more messages appeared. It looks at the moderator too. It leaves the room. I watched the doorway, and something moved across it, slowly, just passing by, not stopping, not turning. And I couldn't make out what it was. No face, no clear shape, just movement where there shouldn't have been anything. After that, everything stopped. No more messages, no more movement, just the empty room again, like nothing had ever happened. At exactly 4 hours, the system logged me out automatically. That night, I turned on every light in my house, walked through every room, checked every corner, telling myself it was just stress, just being tired, just my brain trying to connect things that didn't belong together. The next night, I opened the notepad file where I had written down the timing of the messages. There was a new line at the bottom. Moderator rereads notes. Under it, another one. Turns around again. I sat there for a few seconds, staring at it, feeling that same tightness in my chest I had felt the night before. Then I turned. My window was open. I live on the 2nd floor. I don't leave windows open. Not at night, not ever. I don't do moderation anymore.
I've stayed in haunted places before, but nothing has ever followed me the way this hotel did. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Los Angeles for work, and I decided to stay at the Biltmore Hotel. I've always been into history and architecture, and that place has a reputation. People say it's haunted, and it was the last place the Black Dahlia was seen before she died. I didn't really believe any of that. Not seriously. I checked in around 1 in the afternoon, and I was on the phone with my mom when I walked into my room. That's when I noticed it. The closet door was slightly open. Not wide, just enough that it felt like someone had just been there. I remember stopping mid-sentence while talking to her, just staring at it for a second. I thought it might be one of those connecting doors at first, but when I walked over, it was just a closet. Small, dark, too dark. I closed it. I know I did. I decided to take a nap because I was exhausted from the flight. But I kept waking up, not fully, just drifting in and out. There were sounds. Not loud, just wrong, thumping, something like crunching. And the weird part is, the hotel was basically empty. I hadn't seen anyone. It didn't make sense. I never have nightmares, but that day, I did. I kept dreaming that I couldn't breathe, like something was pressing on my chest. And in the dream, I was trying to talk to a friend, but I couldn't get the words out. It just kept happening, over and over. When I woke up, the room was freezing, like actually cold. I remember pulling the blanket over me and feeling this gust of air move across my body, but the AC wasn't on. I checked. It was completely off. And then I looked at the closet again. The door was open, just slightly. I left for dinner after that. I didn't want to stay in the room. When I came back, I walked around the hotel a bit, just to clear my head. The floors were empty, completely empty. I saw one person the entire time. Some of the windows upstairs were cracked open, and you could feel the air moving through the hallways, but it didn't feel normal. It felt like the whole building was breathing. I slept with the lights on that night. I don't do that. I never do that. And I kept waking up. Not because of noise this time, but because it felt like something was standing in the room with me. I checked out at 6 a.m. I didn't even wait. I just left. I've been to other haunted places before, real ones, and I've never felt anything like that. And the worst part is, sometimes when I wake up at night now, I feel that same cold air again, like I never really left that room.
I won $117 million, and within a week, I knew exactly how my husband was going to die. It didn't feel like luck when it happened. It felt like something clicking into place, like a quiet door closing somewhere I couldn't see. I remember standing in the living room, staring at the TV as the numbers lined up one after another, and everything inside me went still. Not excited, not even surprised, just still. He was the one who started shouting, laughing, grabbing me, saying, we did it, and I smiled and said it back. But even then, it didn't feel like we. It felt like the word had already split in half. We did everything you're supposed to do. We stayed quiet, hired the right people, took the lump sum, paid off the house, cleared every debt, and started talking about leaving, about somewhere warm, somewhere easy, somewhere that felt like the reward we'd been working toward for years. On the surface, it was perfect. Underneath, something had shifted. It wasn't obvious, not at first. It was small things, the way he looked at me a second too long, or not long enough, the way his jokes started to have an edge to them, like there was something behind them he wasn't saying. Ironic, he kept calling it, that he'd played the lottery for years and never won. And I bought one ticket on a bad day and changed everything. It didn't sound like a joke when he said it. I wanted to fix that feeling. Or maybe I wanted to prove to myself that nothing had changed, so I decided to do something nice for him. Something he'd always talked about, a sailboat, his dream. Something that felt like a gift big enough to hold everything together. I went down to the marina to look at options, and he was already there, not alone. I didn't call out to him. I didn't walk up. I just stayed where I was and watched him laugh with her, easy, comfortable, like this was the version of his life that made sense now. The strange part is, I didn't feel the shock I was expecting. I felt calm, like I had finally stepped into a moment that had been waiting for me. It didn't take long to find out who she was. She had posted everything, pictures, dates, little captions that made it all feel casual, 6 months of it, laid out neatly like proof that my life had been edited without me noticing. I didn't cry. I made a decision. 2 days later, I cooked his favorite dinner, steak and baked potatoes. I wore something he used to love, and I thanked him for everything, for the years, for the work, for us. And I could see the confusion in his face, like kindness made him uncomfortable now. After we ate, I gave him the keys, the boat. He was thrilled. I told him to take it out, enjoy it, take whoever he wanted. He didn't hesitate. That weekend, I watched from the shore as the boat cut across the water, farther and farther out, until the noise of the world fell away, and it was just the wind and the distance. And I remember thinking how peaceful it looked, how clean it all felt, like everything unnecessary had been stripped away. When he went below deck, I knew exactly what he would find. I had measured everything carefully. I didn't hear the explosion. I saw it. A brief flash, a break in the shape of the boat, and then the water closed over it like it had been waiting, like it knew exactly where to fall back into place. There was no shouting I could make out, no struggle that reached me, just distance, and then nothing. The last thing I could see before it disappeared completely was the name painted along the side, the one he had always said he'd choose, the one he said meant everything. Freedom. He always said he wanted it. I just made sure he got it.
If this story gave you chills, don't forget to subscribe, because the next one might be even worse.